Welcome to another training session with John Overall, and this is presented to you, of course, by johnoverall.com. This training session is on the BackWPup plugin, and it is tied to the plugin that I just covered in my newsletter real briefly, and you can also find it on our podcast. It was reviewed in episode 62 of my podcast, WP Plugins from A to Z, so go check it out there. So this is very simple. Finding a plugin is a simple thing to do. You start by going to your plugins menu, clicking on Add New. Then you search for BackWPup. And when you find BackWPup, be your top result, you just click Install Now and set her all up, and away you go. Very simple. Activate it, and you're good to go. Now what it does for you is it sets up a brand new menu item for you down here at the bottom. And when you head over to it, there's nothing there to start with. And what BackWPup does is it allows you to back up your WordPress website, back up your database, do optimization of your database, and then you also get to upload those backups to multiple sources. And we're going to show you exactly how and where all of that is taking place and where it goes. So once you've installed it, you've got to go double check a couple of quick settings on there and see how all that turns out for you. So when you head over to settings, all it is basic sending information, your sender name, your login method, your log files, where your login folders are, how many retries. All of these are basic settings which generally work quite. If you have FTP on your website, you'll need to set in this one if your website requires FTP. Most WordPress sites don't. So there's generally nothing there to set. I often just skip right over it. They've got some tools here for you. You can go import and restore a database install here. They've got your backups. If you have already got backups on your site, you can find them here. If you have log files, you can find your log files here. If it's working, we'll show you how that works in a minute. And then, of course, we've got jobs. So with jobs, you can either add new down here on the left-hand column or right up here at the top. And we're going to go up here at the top. Okay, once you add a new job, we're going to call this job. There's two types of jobs to add to this program. One of them is for doing database management, and the other is for doing database and file backup. The first one we're going to create here is the database and file backup system. So this one we're just going to call backup for simplicity's sake. Okay, you name it. Then what you do is you go over here to the right-hand column, and under job type, you make sure you've got database backup and file backup checked. You can also optimize the database and check database tables at the same time if you like. Not necessary. You can also export a WP XML file, and that is the XML file that would be exported if you were trying to export your site to reinstall it into another WordPress site. You get to choose all the tables for your database backup over here in the center left area. Below that is two checkboxes. The show inserts instead of full with keys, not generally a good idea. You generally want the whole key going across instead of short inserts. Something might go wrong. Set your blog maintenance to maintenance mode when you're doing database operations. This is a good idea in case your website is busy. You could be doing database maintenance or backup and have visitors on your site. And if it's not in maintenance mode, they could be accessing the database same time you are. And it's not likely, but possible it can cause corruption. Below that is choose the files to backup. You can back up everything in your WordPress root, or you can exclude certain files. Like if you have additional folders inside there, say you've got a folder called backup, or you've got a folder called something else, help, who knows. You can exclude those files from the backup. You can also exclude sections from your content, like say you don't want to reserve the MU plugins, or you don't want to save the WP Touch data. You can also exclude certain plugins from being backed up if you need to. You can also exclude certain themes, like there's generally no reason to back up the 2011 theme unless you've customized it, or the 2010 theme. You can exclude upload folders from your site from being backed up. So there's lots of ways to exclude stuff from doing backups. Below that is you can also include special folders. and it gives you the paths. Like if you've got folders inside a specific path on your site, you can include those. You can also exclude folders from backups such as log folders. So there's lots of ways to customize this backup. Now comes the fun part. As you scroll down further, you can back it up to many places. You can back it up to a local folder on your system. You can back it up and have it emailed to yourself, limiting the file size it will email if you need to. Back it up to another FTP server besides your own. You can even back it up to Dropbox. I really like this feature here. The only problem with backing it up to Dropbox is the fact that they limit you to 150 megs. So if your website is bigger than 150 megs, and it's surprisingly how little it takes to get above 150 megs, you can't back it up to Dropbox until they finally open up their API a little further. You can back it up to SugarSync. I'm not sure who they are, but they're a cloud service of some sort. I actually use the Amazon S3 service for many of my backups, and I use it also for backing up client websites. So it backs it up there. I have it set to back up their sites once a month. And that way I don't have to remember to go in and do the backups for them. This is a very nice system for doing backups. You can back it up to Google Storage. You can back it up to Microsoft Azure. You can back it up to Rackspace Cloud. So there's multiple options here for backing it up. Once you choose your option and set it, you then come over to the right-hand column again and you schedule this job. You can activate scheduling, choose whether it's monthly, weekly, daily, or hourly, and then just set the minutes right over here to the side. Very simple to do. You can give the file a prefix so it gets unique. You can have it zipped, you can have it tarred, you can have it tar gzipped, and you can have it tar bzipped. So you can create it in multiple ideas. You can also have a log sent to yourself telling you what's going to happen or what happened, and that's always nice. You can have the log always sent or only sent if there's an error, which means sometimes I never see the logs. So that's creating the job setting for backup. Now what do you do if you just want to do something like, one of the big things I do with this program is I don't always use it for backups because some sites don't need a regular backup, or I've got them on a server that the server actually makes the backups for me. But what I've done here, it's still important to do maintenance on your database. And especially on some of my clients' sites that have got very large databases, you need to do that maintenance regularly to keep that database operating as optimal. So here, we just change this. We call it database management or maintenance. Okay, and what we do is we go over to job type and we uncheck backup and we uncheck the backup and we click optimize database tables and check database tables. We come over here to the left, set blog to maintenance mode. We come down here to scheduling. We schedule it to do daily, weekly, or hourly. On some of my clients, I have it set to do it daily at 3 a.m. So it's the middle of the night, generally for their sites where they're at their slowest traffic. You don't need the stuff below it except to send log. Have it send me a email if there's an error. That way I can look into it. Hit save changes, and it's all done. Now what you can do, if you need to run it right now, you can come back to the jobs menu, and you see you've got your database maintenance and your backup. You can run any of those jobs right now. We're going to run the maintenance because we don't have the backup completely set up with a place to store it. So you click run now, and it goes through, puts it in maintenance mode, does the database check, comes down, tells you what it did, and this one took like before we could even read it all, it was done. So that is using BackWPup, a very nice plugin. I highly recommend it. So go check it out, folks, and thank you for listening to my show. Have a good day. Take care.